Good morning, y'all. Welcome to another What Else is Going On, aka We Go podcast episode. I'm your girl, your host, Taria. We are getting ready to get into the Real Housewives of Miami, the latest episode. Miami's good, y'all, but before we do, I would ask if y'all could please make sure that you like, you comment, you subscribe, you follow the podcast. Wherever it is you find your podcast, go to your podcast app, type in What Else is Going On podcast, and hit like there's like a little arrow, at least for Apple. I don't know about any other ones. Follow, but also, can y'all follow me on Instagram and Twitter at We Go Podcast, TikTok too. I keep saying I'm gonna get over there. It's like how do you dip your toe back in, right? But at We Go Podcast One, I love y'all. Thank y'all so much for always supporting. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting, whether we agree or disagree respectfully. I appreciate y'all taking the time out of y'all day, truly. I keep saying this also. I know I keep saying it, but I think it's important to let your community know just how much you appreciate their support. So I was supposed to have this video out to y'all last night. I had all my notes taken, but I'm gonna be honest, my man had been gone for a week. He came home, so we was in each other's faces. So I can now, and I took today off, so I can bring y'all this. Lord, I'm blanking, y'all. This podcast episode about Miami. So we're in Real Housewives of Miami season 7. Y'all, what episode is this? 8, 9? It's called Major Red Flag. So after all of that back and forth on the bus with Lisa being late and Stephanie saying she's a no-go, the goddesses finally arrived to the venue. The ladies meet Daniel. It's funny, Alexia says, I want y'all to meet Danielle. But we meet Daniel in her confessional. She said, Adriana says, if I wasn't with my man, I would be basically going to dinner with him tonight. Do y'all believe that Adriana's relationship is real with this guy, or do you think it's so that she can have something to bring? If it's real, good for her. If not, I don't mind Adriana not. Adriana is embedded enough in this group to me where we don't necessarily need her backstory. Maybe she's trying to do it because she wants to be full time, but I think that she's again enmeshed in this group enough not to have a backstory. I think Marisol isn't. She's just Alexia's ride or die. So I think that's why Marisol is trying to bring more of her back. So like her husband and all of that in the story. I don't know. Y'all let me know. But anyway, so Alexia tells them to look at the mirrors because there's mirrors all throughout. And I just wanted to do something real quick with the mirror thing. Where does I wanted to get into? I know y'all probably know it, but let's get into the history of narcissism. So it comes from he's named after the Greek mythological figure Narcissus. And it's basically he thought he was so beautiful, right? That he fell in love with his own reflection. So he looked in the mirror. Let me see. It tells the mythical story of a handsome young man, Narcissus, who spurns the advances of many potential lovers. When Narcissus rejects the nymph Echo, who was cursed to only echo the sounds that others made, the gods punish Narcissus by making him fall in love with his own reflection in a pool of water. When Narcissus discovers that the object of his love cannot love him back, he slowly pines away and dies. So basically, it's about selfishness. He fell in love with his own self, but his own self couldn't love him back the way another human could love him. So that's where that comes from. So with the whole mirror thing, looking in the mirror. So Alexia has them look in the mirror, and there's different little notes written on the mirrors. It's about self-reflection, and it's letting them know what narcissists are. Marisol says, "Child, let's go to the bar. We can't buy no drinks at the bar." She's like, ain't nobody got time for this. I've asked this before. Do y'all believe that this drinking is now a shtick with Marisol, or do y'all believe her and her cockies, she actually drinks as much as she says? This is not about anybody's eating habits or diagnosing or anything, because some people just don't eat a lot. I've noticed that she doesn't eat a lot, but she always talked about drinking. So do y'all think that she really drinks? I'm sorry, when Adriana wrote that letter to her liver, that was funny. Again, Alexia doesn't have to have this whole backstory, right? But anyway, Marisol says, let's go to the bar. So Stephanie's reading the mirror, and it's again, she reads her mirror. It's about narcissism. So in Adriana says, "Oh, this is about Todd. This is about Todd in the way that he just in the way he treats Alexia. Alexia has called Todd a narcissist. This is what this is about." So they show the flashbacks to Todd and all this other stuff. But then they find out it's not for Todd. And in her confessional, Kiki said, "How is this party not for Todd?" In her confessional, Alexia said she thinks it's funny that the girls think the party is about Todd, but they're all narcissists. So I'm like, I'm glad that she included herself in that this time instead of saying that I want the girls to see how much of a narcissist they are. That word, let me tell y'all something. I had to take speech class growing up for my S's. I had to learn to keep my tongue behind my teeth. Even as an adult, I consciously in my mind say, keep your tongue behind your teeth when you say S. And narcissist is kicking my behind a little bit, saying it over and over again. My jaws is tired from keeping my teeth closed to say all the S's in narcissist. But anyway, so Kiki said, so back in, I'm sorry, so Alexia says in her confessional that they're all narcissists. Gertie, in her confessional, says the fact that this is a narcissist-themed party says a lot because they have a lot among them. Then even Stephanie, in her confessional, says she thinks she's a little bit of a narcissist as well. She says she thinks that a lot of entrepreneurs are. And, that begs the question, are we using the word narcissist just willy-nilly? Like when we learn, when a word becomes a pop culture word or a therapy term, it's overused. Like, to me, diabolical. I told y'all, somebody said on my comment, talking about Money Long and that video I did weeks ago about Money Long and her reaction to people commenting on her in her live. That's diabolical. And I said, since when has discussion become diabolical? So are we overusing these words? Because what Stephanie said makes sense. There is a point when when you're a business owner, you can't always consider the feelings of others, meaning not in a, you're just a number to me and not real people kind of way that work for me. But y'all know what I'm saying. So is the term narcissist become overused? I'm not saying I don't think Todd is. And can you have narcissistic traits but not be a narcissist? Are those traits always bad? I don't know. Let's get more into it. So Lisa gets in the swing and Marisol's taking pictures of Lisa. Child, they like, wrap this up. Like, come on. She did look pretty in that swing though, I thought, but I did think it was funny. Lisa said, I ain't reading nothing on these mirrors. I'm getting in this swing and I'm gonna get pictures taken of me. So Alexia said Lisa is oblivious and making it all about her. I thought that was funny. Kiki said Lisa needs to read some of the messages on the mirror. So Stephanie and Lisa have a bit of a conversation about the stuff on the mirror, and then they kind of hug it out from their argument on the bus. That is the point of Housewives. Get into these arguments, go back and forth, hands in the face, wax on, wax off. Don't put your hand in my face. I'm not putting my hand in your face. For those of y'all that are watching, y'all can see what I'm doing. So if you're listening, but not watching, come over and watch as well. We Go Podcast on YouTube. But anyway, you have the conflict and then you move on. And that's what I loved about this moment. Stephanie apologizes. In her confessional, Lisa says she's not going to be late with Stephanie again. And in her confessional, Stephanie said, ain't no way she's going to do it again after all this. Stephanie, have you watched the show? Okay. So Gertie, Julia, Kiki, and Larsa are sitting on a bench and they want to know where Lisa is with Larsa. So they're all like, Larsa, where are you? And Larsa said she doesn't know. She's trying with Lisa, but she doesn't know. Julia brings up her dinner conversation with Gertie. And then, like, you need to talk it out. Like, me and Gertie, we went to dinner, blah, 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 blah. So then Gertie starts over talking Julia a little bit. So they're kind of like over talking each other. In her confessional, Julia says Gertie talking about it and she thought they were over and moved forward, but apparently not. I thought Julia even bringing it up, I guess she tried to bring it up as an example, like, listen, Larsa, you and Lisa can move forward. Me and Gertie had dinner. I get where she was going with that. At the same time, she told Gertie if any of the ladies asked them what they talked about, she wasn't going to say anything. At the same time, I also understand that it is going to come up because if they are now getting along in a setting with the girls are going to be like, what happened? And this is a show. So we have to talk about it all, right? So it's kind of like real life, but also we got to remember this is the show. So yes, Gertie and Julia met up real life. What we talked about stays here, even though we're filming a TV show, because in real life it would stay here. But also we're a friend group and it's going to be discussed, right? So I get that. But I also kind of see Gertie being like, but then I guess Julia thinking they had just moved forward. I know there's some people that want Gertie to just move on. In that moment when they're filming, that had just kind of basically just happened. You threw water in my face. And then nobody around me defended me in the moment. I ain't talking about after it's over saying Gertie, Julia was wrong. Because to me, that don't even count. If you can't defend me in the moment, Kiki, if you can't defend me in the moment, right? But let's move on. So Julia says she thought they moved on. Apparently not. Why is one of the seats a throne, y'all? And Alexia is sitting in. When I tell you the way I cracked up, and I even did a post, I said, Alexia throwing a narcissist party, sitting on a throne, like looking down at them. I don't even think she did it on purpose, and it was perfection. All right. So now they're going to play a game. They have to answer questions. I say, here we go, because we know how these games on these shows go. But this is not supposed to be a game. This is an exercise. So they're asking questions. Who talks about themselves the most? Lisa wins. Daniel asked her how she feels. And she says, well, maybe I'm telling my problems to the wrong people. I thought we were a group of friends and we should share. I get what she's saying. But me as a friend, I also try to be sensitive to what my other friends are going through. Yeah, there are times that, let's say, when me and my friends may go out and something is weighing heavy on me, and we need y'all. I need y'all tonight to be my ear tonight. But it's not every night. It's not every time. And we have other friends that may be like, y'all, I need ear tonight. Sometimes when you're going through it and it's so heavy, you don't mean to always make it about you. And then y'all ever had any friends that it's like, girl, it's always something with you. Even though you love them and you know they're good people at heart, but it's like, there is always something with you. Everything is like an issue with you. Like, girl, can we get a minute? So I get both sides of that. Lisa saying, maybe I'm telling my problems to the wrong people, but also, girl, you do make it about yourself. So in her confessional, Lisa ain't with it. She like, this is messed up. So Larsa tells her, you basically only care about yourself. And Lisa said, well, then maybe you should tell me your problems. What are your problems? So with Lisa, you have those friends, you may try to hold it in, but then you have a friend that's like, I know something's wrong, sis. This is not you. Let me know. Every friend isn't like that. Some friends you need to tell them, hey, I'm going through something and I need you to listen. And I think Lisa's that type. Lisa ain't going out of her way to just come check on you because she's so consumed with her own stuff. But then maybe when you hit her like, yo, I need you, she might be like, oh, okay, I got it. I feel like that kind of friend gets on your nerves. But I feel like there's Lisa and Larsa both have that in them where I could see Larsa could be a really good friend, but the minute something goes left, she goes all the way left. And to me, those aren't always the best type of friends either. So now I got to worry about you flying off the handle, exposing my business, because you mad. Anyway, the next question is, who is quick to take offense? Child, Lisa got the most again. Lisa's like, oh, I win again. Great. The next one was lack of accountability. Daniel says this lesson is an exercise for everybody to grow and not to hurt people. So even because Lisa is the like Lisa has won, in quotes, all three categories. So he wanted to step in and say, this is not to hurt people. This is to take accountability. Child, Julia, she probably ain't even wash the dog, cat, animal excrement from under her fingernails. And she want to raise her hand and say, if somebody has done something, if somebody had said something to hurt you so bad, and it's so hard to forget, how do you move forward? I said, is she still talking about Gertie saying in a response, by the way, to we're not friends, we've never been friends. You got a facelift when Martina was getting chemo. That's what you're talking about still? That's what you're talking about? So they say, how do you move forward? Daniel says, did they apologize? And she says partially. Girl, he said, so like in the situation, like who, like what's going on? So Julia says Gertie. I loved how Gertie raised her hand and said, and I was physically assaulted. There's more context. And I don't think this is the right setting to talk about it. I 100% agreed with Gertie. Girl, what? You, sometimes if you, there are things that people do to you that you can feel that is so egregious that I've accepted your apology and I've moved on. That doesn't mean we immediately go back to how we were. I'm still processing you throwing water in my face on national TV, not remorseful, and nobody backed me up. Yeah, we're not getting ready to have this conversation, not right here. Like Gertie said, I was physically assaulted. There's more context. So Daniel says, well, Daniel says, well, the person has to forgive. Gertie's like, and I have to forgive the physical assault. No, I'm sorry. Daniel tells Julia, like, well, basically, you still have to forgive that person. And Gertie says, like, I have to forgive the physical assault. I said, so in her confessional, Gertie says, I thought she wasn't going to bring this to the group. I see you. And I agreed with her. Next question is who plays the victim child? Lisa once again. Lisa said, I'm not for this life. Y'all not get ready to do this to me. So she said she feels like they're making her the punching bag. So she gets up, she's crying. Some of the people go with her. So all the ladies end up going inside. Lisa goes to the bathroom and she's crying. Adriana goes in to check on her. So the ladies outside of the bathroom are like, that was rough. Larsa said, if it was me and I want every category, I would go home and like reflect, like, is it me? I said, girl, no. Girl, no, you wouldn't. Girl, no, you wouldn't. The girls have told you time and time again how you go low, how you hit low, how you go below the earth. You go scorched earth. And you're like, that's just me. That's who I am. And I think it's funny how Larsa is calling Lisa out on some stuff she should be called out on, but Larsa's still not all the way right to me. Girl, what? So in the bathroom, Lisa says, how can everyone forget what Larsa has done to them? And like I just said, like she has a point. Um, so the guy Daniel is leaving, right? And I think it was Adriana who said he's a hocus pocus TikToker. I said, I wonder how Daniel felt when he saw that. Like, so Gertie says, look, like in her confessional, she says she wished that when that situation went down with her and Gertie, somebody had empathy for her and tried to mend the two, bring them together. So she's going to do it for Larsa and Lisa. When I tell you, Gertie had me crying, laughing, agreeing, and being like, Gertie, hush, all at the same time. So Gertie goes and gets Larsa and Lisa and says, y'all gonna talk. And Adriana was sitting there too. And Gertie's like, I'm the mediator. And Adriana's like, you can have it. Larsa starts off with, I've been a really good friend. And Gertie was like, mm-mm. You can't start out a conversation like that. And I do agree. I feel like sometimes in those instances, instead of I've done this, I've done that, you got to kind of lead a horse to water through example or through conversation to let them see. You saying it, you ever been saying something to somebody and it's clear as day and you're like, what don't they get? But they have to come to it on their own. I always use the example. For some, 2 plus 2 is 4. That's it. For some, 1 plus 1, like they do it 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. That still equals 4, but they had to get to that a different way than you did. And that's okay. Everybody processes things differently. And I think it's like that in this too, because you're coming at it from, they're both coming at it defensively instead of both playing offense. All right, let's see. Let me hear you out. Let me hear you out. And you throwing in, I've been a good friend. Girl, we ain't even got to leave with that. So Gertie was like, that's not good. So then they're trying to talk and Gertie's inserting. No, she didn't want you to do that. This is what she wanted you to say. And you hurt her. So then Lisa would be like, you hurt me. And then Gertie would be like, you hurt her. Like repeating what they said. Girl, it was so funny. And then they brought up the whole Jody of it all. And Gertie's like, don't let him win. Don't let him win. And in her confessional, Larsa was funny. She was like, Gertie, what is going on? Like, we don't need all this. But they end up coming to the resolution that, look, we need to get together outside of the other girls and have a conversation where you don't have differences of opinions or whatever. But they do come to an agreement. They don't leave shouting and screaming, right? So that was cool. So Gertie's like, my job here is done. So next up, we have what I like to call, as y'all know, interstitials. I hope I'm using that right, but I think so. Adriana looking up personality disorders. I was laughing. I said, I love that about Miami. I experience all the feelings with Miami, even though I don't like to feel feelings of rage watching these shows. But like with the whole Julia Gertie situation, Larsa sometimes, because she just, but then you can laugh and then you can still have empathy for these people for what they're going through. Like you get a range of emotions for me with Miami. Kiki and her daughter Summer are on the dance floor. Lisa's getting a body treatment that's equivalent to doing 20,000 squats. Child, today is my leg day. Can I go lay on somebody's table and do that? Because it's my leg and ab and cardio day and I'm tired. But next up, we're at Julia's house. The social worker named Connie shows up. And basically, they have the kids, but they haven't officially adopted them yet. The environment needs to be good for the kids. They ask her if she has a male role model in her life that the boys could look up to. And she says her brother, even though he isn't there, they FaceTime. Then she talks about how she's careful letting people in the home to see them because they had people come over. And when they came over, the boys got like a scared look on they froze. And she's thinking, is it them thinking they're going to be taken away again? And I'm not going to lie, especially when you're little, you capture these images, these memories, right? And they're now living with these two white women. And I'm saying white because they're white passing. And not white passing because they look white, you know what I mean? And then who knows if every time the boys were removed from a home, was it white women? Was it white men coming in? You know what I'm saying? So they in their little minds, I'm living in a house, somebody comes in and now I'm going to be taken again. So I did think it was observant on Julia's part to kind of like pick up on that. Next up, Stephanie and her husband are out to dinner with her parents. So basically, her parents are getting older. She bought a ring cam inside their house without their knowledge. I wish my kids would do that. And I found out, I wouldn't let them know I found out. I would just be strolling through my house naked. You don't want to see that, do you? Be putting no ring cam, at least without my knowledge. What do you do? You don't know what me and your dad gonna be popping it and doing it all up and through my house that y'all don't live at. You might catch something you don't want to see. Listen, don't be doing that. Warning to my children, do not put a ring cam inside my house without having that discussion with me first. That's all I'm gonna say when y'all move on up out of here. But anyway, so she says that when her dad first met Masood or learned of him, he was shocked about his age because he's almost the age of her dad. But the second time they got together, they hit it off. And now he's like the son her dad never had if her dad had a son at one. So she said that her dad raised her tough. Don't cry, do this, learn to ride a bike. You don't cry, don't show emotion, don't do this. I know as a firstborn, I feel that a lot. You're raised to not, I hate saying be soft because there's nothing wrong, like especially when they apply it to little boys. Even as you get older, you learn like we're all born with emotions that we should express, and not expressing has sent plenty of people on to glory, from heart attacks, from stress, from keeping it in, from anger turning into bitterness and bitterness killing them. So, but I get what she's saying, how she was raised. Like, you tough. You don't let nobody see you, whatever. You just handle it and move on. So she said, but her sisters were basically raised sensitive. Her falling out. So there's a falling out between her and her sisters and her parents and the sisters. So I'm like, wow. I thought it would just like, oh, she had a falling out with her sisters, but the parents are trying to be like the mediators, but evidently they had their own. So the parents get emotional, and she says, look, I believe one day that we'll be a complete family. Next up, Russell and Gertie go to counseling. I thought this was a really, really important and real scene. I've talked to y'all about this before. I think either the first or second episode of The Real House of Miami, when Gertie talked about it's not just cancer. Yes, you beat cancer, but it's not over, because cancer is like an explosion and you're picking up the debris. And she showed a side of this fight with cancer that I never even thought about. She says there's residuals. This is the first time that they're in couples counseling, and she said she wants to get rid of this cancer trauma. They have trauma left from the cancer. Even though the cancer is gone, there's still trauma. She doesn't want Russell to see himself as just her caretaker. And I thought about that. Like your husband, you still want your husband to see you fun and sexy, and even as a mom or as a businesswoman or as this or as that, his partner, his friend. But you don't want him to see you as his patient, as needing a caretaker. And I can imagine with Russell, with what he does for work, being a firefighter, you can't be emotional when you're in the moment, just like with doctors, right? But patients also, you kind of want that and need that sometimes, depending on, right? So she just doesn't want him to see her as just his sick patient. And because she says we need to get back to being a couple. And I can understand how she feels, but also in Russell's brain, him having to turn that off. Like, I was her caregiver. She talks about how at one point in time with the cancer, she was like, I'm done. I just want to go. Like, she was tired from fighting. And Russell told her, you can't. You have to fight for me and for our kids. And she never mentioned it again. So she wants him to be able to get past that. So I want to shout out to Gertie for exposing that side of what it's like to go through the aftermath of your partner having this disease that could have taken you out. And one would think it's all roses and sunshine as it comes to that, because we beat this thing. But no, there's actual residuals of that. Picking up the pieces, maybe feeling sexy again. It involved her breast. You thinking your partner sees you as not a woman anymore, like all of these different things. So I really appreciate Gertie for bringing that conversation and that side of it. Because again, until I saw her say it, I never even thought about it like that. And shout out to one of my listeners, Jill. She's actually the one that sent me to BravoCon. She gave me that experience. She broke my BravoCon cherry. But she'd been through breast cancer, and she shared, like, basically she knows what Gertie was talking about during this. So shout out to her, because again, I never thought about that. And I really appreciated Jill's perspective on it as well. So shout out to her. Last scene, Lisa and Larsa. So they meet up. They rehash their own versions of where their relationship went left. Larsa thinks of it one way. Lisa remembers it another way. So Larsa said Jody accused her of hiring the paparazzis to take pictures of when Marcus had his pinky out, and it looked like he was putting his pinky up his nose, and something was on his pinky to put up his nose, right? So Larsa said, Jody accused me of hiring the paparazzi to take that picture. Lisa said, that's because the paparazzi person told us that, like, the paparazzi told us. Child, Larsa got hot. And this is when Larsa gets pissed off, is when she goes to the left. Instead of saying, girl, that is not true. That is not. She was like, I'm a better friend. Bottom line, I'm a better friend than you. And just running down all her accolades as a friend, right? Lisa said, girl, you change friends like I changed my underwear. Larsa said, you're actually losing friends. And again, Larsa feels hurt, or Larsa, because who knows if it's the truth or not, right? Feels exposed. So she's like, oh, I'm going to run down. I'm going to make you feel bad. You're losing all of your friends. You don't have any friends. I'm the only one willing to meet up for lunch with you. And while I know that that hurts Lisa's feelings, and I know that Lisa knows it's not true, because we can flash back some episodes. The ladies are meeting up with Lisa too. The ladies are not turning their back on Lisa. They're meeting up with her. The ladies also have been saying they know how Larsa can be, right? So even though you may hear that in the back of your mind, I'm sure Lisa is still wondering, wait, have those ladies gone back and talked bad about me to Larsa? So even if she doesn't 100% believe what Larsa's saying, like, I know these ladies are still my friends. I haven't lost them. But at the same time, if they're agreeing with me about some of Larsa's shortcomings as a friend, what are they saying about me to Larsa? So Larsa's letting her know, child, you ain't got no friends. Lisa goes to the bathrooms and she was like, we're not getting anywhere. I'm going to the bathroom. I'm glad she didn't just leave the scene. She went. Child, Lisa is somehow ends up on the phone with Alexia, and I looked away. So I don't know. Did Lisa call Alexia or did Alexia call her? I'm not sure. But either way, they end up on the phone. Lisa's telling her what Larsa is saying about not having any friends. They flash back. Well, so Alexia's telling her, honey, don't believe it. Don't believe that. That's not true. I don't know why she's saying those things. Child, they go back to Lisa at the table. I mean, Larsa at the table. She must be strolling. She must be scrolling. Your Lord, strolling and trolling. Along with that word narcissist, kicking my behind. She must be scrolling TikTok. When I heard Trump's voice say, and if you're Hispanic or Latina and vote for Kamala, girl, I wanted to throw my phone. Why I can't, I need to get away from him. I don't want his voice. Y'all, I honestly, I literally just got a nauseous feeling. I know it's from my coffee, but also probably because I mentioned his name. Whew. Anyway, but I was like cringing and cracking up. Like, girl, keep going. Because why do I have to hear this? But we get back in the bathroom and then into the restaurant. Lisa is in the restaurant now, like sitting down, talking loud. Once again, it's about Lisa, and she don't even recognize how loud she is in this environment. Like, other people are there, and somebody comes over to tell her, "You're being loud. Excuse me, ma'am, you're being loud." But once it's pointed out, she gets up, she apologized. So Alexia told her, "Tell Larsa that this is between y'all two. Like, basically, don't bring up the other ladies. It's between us." So back at the table, Larsa continues, "I'm a better friend. I'm a better friend." And it's like, you leading off with that again put somebody on the defensive. I agreed with what Gertie said earlier in the episode. You can't lead with that, not when you're trying to get somewhere. So she does apologize to Lisa and is like, look, I'm sorry that I was harsh. You know, basically, I'm sorry for the things I said about Jody. I'm sorry for all of it. The way I talked to you in your house, I'm sorry. She asked Lisa, but can you accept some of the accountability? Lisa said yes. Because Lisa thinks it's all just about her seeing Larsa going off because she saw the picture of Jody with Marcus. And Larsa is not slowing down enough to hear. These are Jody's friends. Marcus was there. Jody was going to meet up with his friends. Marcus was there. Marcus wanted to take the picture. Jody is not seeking Marcus out. These are Jody's friends for years that Marcus is latching onto, and he didn't say no for a picture. And Lisa wasn't there, right? So Lisa says she can accept the accountability. She can accept her part, but she tells Lisa, "I wish you would, Larsa. I wish you would tell me your actual feelings around it." Because Larsa's thing is, if she's hurt, she sees the picture, starts texting, "You ain't a friend. I'm a better friend than you. I'm gonna start hanging out with Lenny." She goes that way instead of saying, "It hurt me. This is why." It comes out in a different way, and by the time we get to why you're really hurt, I don't want to hear it because you didn't drug me through the mud first, right? So Lisa says, "I wish that you would tell me your real feelings around the situation. Just let your guard down and tell me how you really feel." And Larsa says, "I can see that." That they both need to do better. So in her confessional, Lisa says she knows Larsa really does have her back. In her confessional, Larsa says she really misses Lisa. She misses them being BFFs. And Larsa says to Lisa, "You know, I'm scrolling through my Instagram looking at our pictures. Like, can we just be BFFs again? Can we just be back?" Lisa said we need couples therapy. And Larsa says they do. They laugh and the episode goes off. I enjoyed this episode. I'm enjoying Miami. Even though, like I said before, the storyline with Gertie and Julia made me want to stop watching, because to watch a cast of people not have Gertie's back. I do think it's interesting how not all, like when it comes to OC and all the ladies coming at Katie, people are like, it's a gang up. We don't like this. I feel like that's happening indirectly with Gertie, on Miami. And it's just like, oh, but it's because Gertie's too much. It's because Gertie's this. And it's like, no, that ain't. The woman was assaulted. Throwing water on somebody is considered assault. So I hope that going forward, this isn't carried out. And by me saying that, I'm not saying Gertie needs to get over it. Because again, we're watching it like it's not happening now, but we're watching them her have to deal with the fallout in the moment of that and her process her feelings. They want her to just get over it because she apologized. But ain't none of y'all come to my defense. So I'm in a friend group of people that are supposed to be my friends, or at least adults who are capable of rationalizing right from wrong. And y'all speak up for your friends when you want to, or you speak up when you think something is wrong and you're not saying anything. And I'm just supposed to, because she said she's sorry, because she said her emotions got the best of her, because Julia said she was going through some things. I'm just supposed to be okay with it when all of y'all are okay with using your voices to say, I need to move forward. But none of y'all could find that voice when it was time to defend myself. I can't wait to see next week and see Gertie play them text messages, baby. I am ready. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this episode of Miami. Are y'all watching? Are y'all enjoying? Were y'all laughing like me? Like that's why I said they could get me laughing. Like I really had a good time with Miami. Let me know y'all thoughts on Stephanie and her family dynamics. Like what do you get based on what you see? We know that we're only seeing a quarter of it, but what feelings do you get based on what you're seeing now? The Russell and Gertie of it all, the counseling, um, Lisa and Larsa. Where do you fall on that? Let me see what else. And Alexia and her tongue behind your teeth, Taria, and her her narcissist party. Alexia and her narcissist party and her sitting on a throne. I love y'all. Please make sure you, again, y'all, you like, comment, subscribe. You follow me on YouTube at We Go Podcast. Also, follow the podcast. Go to What Else Is Going On. Wherever it is you listen to your podcast, you'll see a picture of my face. You'll know it's me. It has been past time for another picture, but you'll see a picture of my face. You'll know it is me. Hit that follow button. Again, I'm going to show y'all for Apple or iTunes. I sound like I'm 100. Y'all see that? Can y'all see? Y'all know what it looks like. It's my, oh, child, you can't really see. Can you? It's my face. But anyway, and you hit the follow button. I love y'all so much, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.